Hey Star Wars fans, this is Star Wars fan Cole here. So today we're discussing the Star Wars Rey movie, New Jedi Order. I'm still unsure exactly how I feel about it, and I'm pretty sure it's being directed by George Lofi or something. I don't remember his name, but that's what it sounds like, and he's being well, either he's directing it or it sounds like he's directing it, or I don't know, he's directing it or writing it, but like it sounds like he's working alongside Kathleen Kennedy for the movie. I'm still unsure how I feel about that. Maybe it could be a success with George Lofi, since he had made some good stuff in the past, but I still don't know exactly how that will affect his work if he's working alongside Kathleen Kennedy for this movie. That's mainly what I have an issue with, is because like Kathleen Kennedy's backward business, and I'm just unsure exactly how I feel about him working alongside Kathleen Kennedy for the movie. Honestly, I would just like it if like Stars just gave George Lofi to write and direct it and not have to work alongside Kathleen Kennedy, because of most films that Kathleen Kennedy has been involved with has failed, like Indiana Jones and Dial of Destiny. That was a failure. That was one of Kathleen Kennedy's failure movies, and it was also James Mangold's failure too, but mostly Kathy's, because she was in charge of that movie as well. And that's mainly why I believe Kathleen Kennedy is a failure, because the last final Indiana Jones movie was a big failure at the box office. And so was The Force Awakens. Actually, no, Force Awakens, not exactly a huge failure. It was okay, but like, I still didn't like it. But like, The Last Jedi was okay. I just didn't really like exactly how the Luke Skywalker's character was treated in The Last Jedi. That's mainly my problem with it, was mainly how they treated Luke Skywalker. I know that was done by Rian Johnson, but I also believe Kathleen Kennedy had a hand in it as well, since she's known for putting a chick in it and making it lame and gay. Because that's kind of what was done to Luke, when it felt more about Rey than it felt like about Luke. You know? And like, and the whole, the main part I didn't like about how Luke Skywalker's character was treated was him basically trying to kill his nephew in his sleep because he sensed darkness in him. That didn't feel like the Luke Skywalker I knew from Return of the Jedi, the one who threw away his lightsaber and tried to do everything he could to turn his heart back to light, even resisting the dark side, because he wasn't going to kill his father with darkness. He refused to play the Emperor's games anymore. He didn't want to kill his father. Instead, he rejected the dark side and declared himself a Jedi, instead of killing his father and going on the path of Vader. That's the Luke Skywalker I know. Not the Luke Skywalker from The Last Jedi, who gave in to fear once he saw visions of what Kylo Ren would become. Once he saw visions of what Ben Solo would become as Kylo Ren, Luke Skywalker gave in to fear, and he almost killed his nephew in his sleep. That was not consistent with the Luke Skywalker we know for Return of the Jedi. And yes, that was Rian Johnson, but I also believe Kathleen Kennedy had a hand in it too. And that's mainly another factor I blame Kathleen Kennedy for, was the Last Jedi flashback, Luke and Rian Johnson. I blame them both for that movie. I did not like the way Luke Skywalker's character was treated in that movie, in the flashbacks. And another thing I dislike is that inside the Rey movie, in New Jedi Order movie, Rey is doing it with the Jedi Order what Luke Skywalker should have been doing when he was rebuilding the Jedi Order, and from Star Wars Legends, and I am not a big fan of that. Luke Skywalker should have been rebuilding the Jedi Order like he did inside the expanded universe, inside The Mandalorian, in my opinion. And Rey and like Luke Skywalker should have been doing that from the start. It shouldn't be Rey doing what Luke Skywalker should have been doing in Star Wars canon. It just shouldn't be. But then again, I shouldn't be too surprised by this because Kathleen Kennedy is made for taking Luke Skywalker's story and giving it to Rey, essentially putting a chicken and making it lame and gay. That's Kathleen Kennedy right there. And that's why I have my doubts on this movie, because I believe it's going to be a total failure. Honestly, I wouldn't care if the Rey movie, New Jedi Order movie, was the last Star Wars movie on Earth. I would not watch it at all because I do not care for the character of Rey Palpatine. And I most certainly do not want to see Rey doing what Luke Skywalker should have been doing from the EU in canon. That should have been Luke Skywalker, not Rey. Therefore, I'm not even giving this movie a chance because I don't want to see my favorite character, Luke Skywalker, ruined by Rey Palpatine. And I most certainly don't want to see Rey doing what Luke Skywalker should have been doing from the EU in Star Wars canon. I just don't want to see that because I love Luke Skywalker from the EU, not the version from The Last Jedi. And yeah, that's another reason why I'm not giving the movie a chance, because to me, The Last Jedi was a big example of the Rey movie, and I have no interest in the new Jedi Order movie because Kathleen Kennedy's taking Luke's story from the EU and giving it to Rey, essentially putting a chick in it and making it lame and gay. This is what Kathleen Kennedy is known for. And I am not watching this movie because I am sick and tired of it. I really am. In my opinion, Bob Iger should just do this and just fire Kathleen Kennedy. She's no good for Star Wars. He should fire Kathleen Kennedy and fire Kathleen Kennedy's loyalists and bring in Jon Favreau and have him find a way to decanonize Star Wars sequel trilogy and reboot Luke Skywalker's character from The Mandalorian to match the Luke Skywalker from the EU, since we love Luke Skywalker's story from the EU and we want to see that with Luke Skywalker, not with Rey. So if Bob Iger can just fire Kathleen Kennedy already and fire her loyalists and bring in Jon Favreau to reboot Luke Skywalker's character from The Mandalorian from the sequel trilogy to match his character from the expanded universe into The Mandalorian sequel trilogy movies, to decanonize Luke Skywalker's failures from the sequel trilogy, that'd be great because I would just love to see Luke Skywalker's character fixed and attempt to save Star Wars since the Skywalkers is the narrative of Star Wars. Since the Skywalkers are the main narrative of Star Wars, the only way Star Wars can be saved is to fix Luke Skywalker's character, since he is the narrative of all of Star Wars, not Rey Palpatine. And this is most certainly why I want Bob Iger to just fire Kathleen Kennedy or loyalists already, have Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni reboot Luke Skywalker's character from The Mandalorian from the sequel trilogy to match Luke Skywalker's character from the expanded universe into The Mandalorian and the sequel trilogy to fix Luke Skywalker's character, save Star Wars, as in that's the only way I really see Star Wars being fixed. And I most certainly don't believe that'll happen as long as Kathleen Kennedy is still at the helm of Lucasfilm. Those are my thoughts. Star Wars fan Cole here, out.